Iranian supreme leader makes first public appearance since the Israel kerfuffle, let's say. Guys, what is he going to say? Like, generally, every single thing that he says is not really true at all, but he's banking on the fact that he basically shut down the internet in his country. So, he's not really getting much, his people specifically are not getting much external information, and he's banking on that. So let's go to see where this goes here. This is a suggestion via channel member. If you guys are new here, please like and subscribe. In the meantime, let's jump into it.
How many Iranians are in the country that are in sleeper cells trying to do bad to America now?
How can he give you a concrete answer on that?
Well, look, you and I have talked about this many times. I said the last 4 years, my biggest concern was this open border was the biggest national security vulnerability this country's ever seen. So I pulled numbers this morning just from a CBP under Joe Biden. There was 1,272 nationals of Iran released in the country between OFO and the border patrol.
Yeah, but not every single one of those individuals are going to be associated to some type of sleeper cell. Obviously, if it's more than one, it's obviously too many, but we cannot guarantee that every single one of the people that have come in through the southern border are going to come to commit some type of secondary or tertiary offense.
A startling assessment of just how open our borders were during the Biden administration, especially now as the Trump administration ramps up its monitoring of Iran-backed sleeper cells. More than 400 terrorism-related encounters occurred at our borders during the Biden administration. That includes hundreds of foreigners on the U.S. terrorist watch list encountered while trying to enter the country illegally under the Biden administration, and millions of others seen on surveillance cameras getting away. Joining us is the U.S. Ambassador to NATO, Matthew Whitaker. Ambassador, thank you so much for joining us.
We have over 1 million gotaways.
Look, here on the homeland, concerned about these sleeper cells, and you have Iran, who's been pummeled. I mean, their nuclear sites have been dismantled. But from the perspective of NATO, how do we assess what's happening in Iran right now, what their attitude and approach is, and how it relates to these sleeper cells that I think a lot of national security experts are quite concerned about?
We should be.
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously a very dangerous world, Jason, and I think, President Trump as a peacemaker has made it safer. But at the same time, we're still dealing with a lot of the consequences of 4 years of Joe Biden, including a porous border, where not only did we have, as Tom Homan points out, over 1,200 Iranian nationals that came into our country that we know of, but you had over 1 million known gotaways that we have no idea who they are, where they went. And that's a real challenge. But at the same time, President Trump has been very clear about his policy towards Iran, that they cannot have a nuclear weapon. And they're at a decision point. They should move forward and seek peace. The Israelis have completely decimated their proxy groups, whether it's Hamas or Hezbollah or the Houthis, and at the same, we've helped them as a country with both our work in the Red Sea against the Houthis and with the complete obliteration that we did with the bunker busters on their nuclear program. And so, Iran should come to the table and should sue for peace and should make a peace deal with the United States, with Israel, and just say no more. We want to be in the world where people seek prosperity and a bright future for their citizens. So, Jason, I think...
Guys, yeah, I don't know. It would be great. To be honest here, I think we all kind of want this to happen, mainly some of the ones who are more fiscally conservative, let's say. We specifically want that to happen so we can stop spending money in other countries. It would be great, right? But I'm not sure the supreme leader of Iran is going to come to the table in any peaceful manner because we publicly disrespected him. And basically how that works for him, let's say, is if you publicly disrespect him, then he's not going to do anything to kind of solve the problem. He seems like the type of person that wants to go down with the sinking ship. That's him, right? Think about all of the other actions that kind of took place to make me even think that, right? I mean, think about the attack that happened on the U.S. military base in Doha, Qatar, right, where he basically pre-warned the leader of Qatar that he was going to be striking a U.S. military base. Obviously, it was going to be that one, right, because that's the largest one in the Middle East. Okay, he pre-warned them. So, think about that for a second here. All he cares about is how things look. right? So he, in no way is he actually going to, come to the table in any peace talks, specifically right now, at least, right? I think a lot more needs to happen before he actually gets to the point where he realizes that there is no hope in his specific cause. And also the people of Iran are very eager, let's say, to kind of get him out of there and have a more peaceful, oriented country, guys, right?
I think right now this puts a lot of pressure on our law enforcement, puts a lot of pressure on, DOJ and the FBI to be right 100% of the time and seek out these sleeper cells and to make sure that they can't activate.
Right.
Well,
Absolutely.
you were the former acting attorney general. You have that interesting perspective. But my understanding is, Ambassador, that the supreme leader there in Iran, for the first time, we've actually seen him on camera since the devastating attack on the nuclear sites. What should we glean from that? And what in the short term and long term, what are we worried about here?
From that specific conversation,
well,
nothing.
it's coming from a place of weakness. The supreme, Ayatollah, needs to show his face, needs to demonstrate that he's still in charge.
He's still
but at
there.
the same time, he's been militarily completely decimated. His nuclear program has been obliterated, and he's in a position of weakness right now, and he's just trying to hold together his power because, the 90+ million Iranian citizens want a better life. They don't want this war and conflict that he has fomented. It was kind of this policy of no war and no peace, where they had these proxy groups, and Israel put an end to a lot of that, took out their air defenses. And this is an interesting thing that's going on right now worldwide, is that air defenses are at a premium, they're low availability, and the United States, having just passed this one big beautiful bill, demonstrates through the this acceleration of the Golden Dome air defense and missile defense program, that ultimately we get it, and we're going to continue to be the world's preeminent superpower, and we will protect ourselves and our citizens.
And let me shift gears here, Ambassador. Give us the latest update. Ukraine, Russia's been bombarding the Ukrainians with drones. What's the latest there? What is the posture of the United States, and what involvement, if any, are we going to take in this war?
We're going to have to get involved in some manner, unfortunately.
Yeah, well, on the one hand, President Trump, the ultimate peacemaker, has made the world safer through the peace deals between Rwanda and the Congo, India, Pakistan, Israel, and Iran, with the end of the 12-day war. But at the same time, this Ukraine-Russia situation, President Trump wants a peace. He wants a ceasefire. But Vladimir Putin, who he talked to a couple days ago, doesn't seem to want to come to the table and actually negotiate. It appears that Zelensky does. I was in the room last week in The Hague where President Trump and Vladimir Zelensky sat down and talked about this. But at the same time, it's one thing to attack militaries, and we have thousands of people every week dying on the battlefield. But, Vladimir Putin is now attacking major cities like Odessa and Kyiv. And I think that is a crossing the line. And I think President Trump has told Vladimir Putin that attacking citizens is just not something that you can do legitimately. And so, President Trump wants peace. He wants to bring this to an end. But at the same time, in order to have peace, both sides have to come to the table and be willing to compromise, be willing to negotiate, and be willing to end the killing, because ultimately that's what needs to happen.
It does. Will it happen though, guys? I think that's the question here. Like, it definitely needs to end, needs to stop. Obviously, Zelensky wants to come to the table. That's pretty much a guarantee. Why would he not? He's on the, let's say, the lesser side, let's say, right? And while Putin specifically is on the stronger side of the scenario, he's like, I'm not stopping, bro. He's basically baiting us into this scenario. He is, okay? It's not going to turn out well because we really do not need to go kind of head-to-head against Russia in any meaningful manner, specifically not militarily, guys, right? Let's stay out of that for as long as we possibly can. But of course, Zelensky wants it to stop because it's his country that is being completely bombarded to, by a massively stronger foe, okay? Putin knows that. Think he doesn't know that? He knows that. And why doesn't Putin want to stop? Because Ukrainians, their language is close enough, let's say, to Russian, that and they are a democracy type, pushing type of place. The last thing that Putin wants, literally now, The last thing he wants is for the people in Russia to get wind, let's say, of actual, democracy, right? So he doesn't want this, he does not need this place to exist any longer. He's not going to back down from this at all. He's not. Sorry, guys. He's just not. And the only way this is going to stop is if we get heavily involved, or let's say Russia starts targeting things that are ours in the Ukraine. Right? That push a couple of months ago of Trump saying that it was incredibly important to kind of have some of our interests, let's say, in the Ukraine. So if Putin did decide to mess with any of our interests, that would be the excuse required, let's say, by that would be needed, let's say, for Congress to kind of okay a gigantic WW3 style kerfuffle, let's say. Okay, there's a lot of geopolitics in this here, guys. A lot of it. I do not want to get involved in that battle personally, but I know at some time we're going to get sucked into it because everyone seems to call on us when things happen. Right? But all right, listen, guys. Let me know in the comments what you guys think. You guys all have an absolutely amazing day. In the meantime, I'll catch you guys later.